जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंद
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन।
यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन।
जमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी।
तीरा वनचारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी।
राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद।
जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद।
जय जय गुरुदेव 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 गुरुदेव। निताई गौर निताई गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल।
गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल।
जय जय श्री राधा माधव भगवान की
जय
जय। लक्ष्मी नरसिंह भगवान की जय।
जय।
जय गौर निताई की जय। जय जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। पतित पावन श्रीपाद महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 2, Text 24. Evam gunair bhramyamane manasya vikalah puman yati tatsamyatam bhatre yalingo lingvan iva. Evam gunair bhramyamane manasya vikalah puman Yati tatsamyatam bhatre alingo lingvaniva. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: In the same way, O my gentle mother, when the mind is agitated by the movements of the modes of material nature, the living entity, although freed from all the different phases of the subtle and gross bodies, he thinks that he has changed from one condition to another. Purport. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 84, Text 13. Yasyatma buddhihi kunapitri dhatuke swadhihi kalatradishu bhauma ichchadhiha yat tirtha buddhi salile na karhichit janeshu abhikesha swaev gokharaha. A human being who identifies the body made of three elements as a self, who considers the byproducts of the body to be his kinsmen, who considers the land of his birth worshipable, and who goes to a place of pilgrimage simply to bathe rather than to meet men of transcendental knowledge, there is to be considered like a cow or an ass. Although Hiranyakashipu was a great demon, he was not as foolish as a population of the modern world. Hiranyakashipu had clear knowledge of the spirit soul and the subtle and gross bodies. But now we are so degraded that everyone, including the exalted scientists, philosophers, and other leaders, is under the bodily conception of life, which is condemned in the Shastras. Saeva Gokharaha, such persons are nothing but cows and asses. Misuse of Gyan. Hiranyakashipu advised his family members that although the gross body of his brother Hiranyaksha was dead and they were aggrieved because of this, they should not lament. They should not lament for the great soul of Hiranyaksha, who had already attained his next destination. Atma, the spirit soul, is always unchanged. Avikalha Puman. We are spirit souls, but when carried away by mental activities, manodharma, we suffer from so-called material conditions of life. This generally happens to non-devotees. Harava abhaktasya kuto mahad gunaha. Non-devotees may possess exalted material qualities, but because they are foolish, they have no good qualifications. The designations of the conditioned soul in the material world are decorations of the dead body. The conditioned soul has no information of the spirit and its exalted existence beyond the effects of the material condition. Om Jnanitimirandasya Jnananjan Salakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swaminiti Namine Nama Sadbhakta Manayaha Manipurudbhavaya Cha Prabhupadla Sadvani Prachara Nirutayate. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityanand Shri Advait Gadadhar Srivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda. Sanatan Prabhu, my audio is clear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Last week it was not clear. Okay now, na?
Yeah.
So I will offer my most humble obeisances to Maharajis, to Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, and everyone present here. And with their permission, I will proceed with the sharing. So Hiranyakashipu, though he is conversant with the concepts of Atma and Deha, and how Atma is very easily subdued by Manodharma and Deha Dharma. He is very much conversant with this fact. Srila Prabhupada is also writing, but still a demon. And he's a classic example of that how the Gyan, if it is not used in service of Krishna, then that Gyan also uh, remains futile and as well as fatal. So, which means that Gyan can also be misused. So, ज्ञान में सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम ये होता है ज्ञानियों में, ज्ञान as such does not have any problem, but the pursuants of Gyan, the Gyanis, they generally develop this superiority complex that I am Gyani and no one else is Gyani, and I know everything. I know the distinction between matter and spirit, and the rest of the crowd, they are still conditioned by their bodily concept of life. I, on the other hand, know everything. So in this spree, they neglect the most important limb, the birthplace of bhakti, which means the association of devotees. They neglect, in fact, they ignore. I guess that neglect is not willful. Ignorance is ignoring. They ignore and neglect. Possibly both are willful. So they willingly, they don't associate. They don't like to associate with pure devotees. They think that people should come and associate with me, and so they don't associate with the pure devotees who are the real gyanis. Actually, who are the actual gyanis? Because gyan is not just a mental enrichment. Gyan is pretty much the chit enrichment. Gyan also means anubhav. Gyan actually culminates into anubhav, realization. Pure devotees have got all the realization of Krishna Tattva, Maya Tattva. They realize, they have scrutinized everything because they realize it. Gyanis, on the other hand, are still in the mental platform, and so they don't associate with devotees. They are not humble, because humility means one should offer his gyan to pure devotees. Bhagwan says, I think Bhagwan says while talking to Uddhav only, that Manushya should do Nishkam karma to get Gyan and then offer that Gyan also. Manushya, the human being, should renounce his fruitive activities by performing Nishkam karma, which means karma and for the pleasure of Krishna. Nishkam karma means Krishna Kam karma. So, not Sakam karma, Krishna Kam karma. So that Nishkam karma will give rise to this Gyan as a fringe benefit. Fringe benefit means the distinction between matter and spirit will be clear in due course of time. But then the word of caution is Bhagavan then says that even that Gyan should also be renounced, offered. Whom should we offer? We should offer it to Krishna or Krishna devotees. How? By understanding that I am not the body. So this understanding will make it clear to us that I should not simply chase my bodily necessities and greeds, and rather should serve the pure devotees, because um, this is level number one, that I am not the body. Level number two will be that so what is my designation or what is my functionality? Since I am not the body, I am the soul, so what should be my functionality? So then he understands in level two, by renouncing Gyan only, or shall I say by properly using Gyan, that serving pure devotees is the true most functionality of the spiriton. And serving his own body is the result of the Dehat Buddhi. So this is called a proper usage of Gyan, right? Any other usage wherein the Gyan actually takes us away from pure devotee service, in which we actually not only neglect them, but we actually kind of belittle them, then that Gyan is the source of aparadh. It becomes instrumental in garnering more and more offenses on our part, because neglecting pure devotees or considering them as agyanis, or considering them as not up to mark, is the very definition of aparadh. So this Hiranyakashipu, he is very much conversant with this knowledge of spirit and body, but to what avail, right? The simple instruction of Prahlad Maharaj Ji will not melt his heart. When Prahlad Maharaj Ji will tell him that Father, Hari Bhakti is the real dharma, Manusha should retire to forest and perform Hari Bhakti. So that will annoy him to such an extent that he would do anything possible to eliminate Prahlad Maharaj. So this is a very, as you can see, that there is not a thin line, it's very distinct. In fact, we can actually now define Gyan as or Gyani as someone who is serving pure devotees. He is Gyani, right? So now there is no confusion. In fact, we can define Gyan like this. In fact, Bhakti is also defined like this: one who is serving a pure devotee of Krishna, he is definitely maybe already a pure devotee, or definitely a pure devotee in the making. So that's why he say our uh, His Holiness Govind Maharaj keeps saying a person who is eligible to be a guru is one who is already a perfect disciple. And I think that's the most propermost definition of the eligibility of being a guru. So here in the previous shloka, Hiranyakashipu is giving two examples. The example of the reflection of tree and the example of the movement of earth because of the rolling eye. These two examples, they actually represent two conditions or two ways through which the deha, through which the aling means the atma, it gets completely captivated by Dhyatma Buddhi. So they are called as Upadhi and Grahak, which means Upadhi and Grahak means, suppose if I am sitting on fire, right? So this is called as Upadhi. I'm close to fire, right? I'm close to fire. Up means I'm close. Up means near, so that is Upadhi. On top of that, if I take fire from that stove and burn myself, which means I spill, I should not say that, but if I spill kerosene on myself and put fire on my body, so that will be called as grahak. Grahak means I have caught it, I have captured it. So not only I am sitting on fire, I'm actually setting my body on fire. So similarly, the living entity, he uh, he is caught, not only caught, but he himself is clinging very hard to deha and to the material existence. So when the in the moving water, when the reflection is falling, the tree's reflection is falling on the still water when the water moves. So this moving water, it gives an impression that that a tree is moving, and that impression is perceived by the eye, right? By the eyes see that the water is moving, and the reflection is also moving. But when the eye itself starts moving because of delusion, or because someone is drunk, and Prabhupada writes in the previous purport, if someone is suffering from heart disease, um, apparently Srila Prabhupada was also suffering from heart disease. So when the eye itself moves, then the earth starts moving. So this is how we should understand. Because the water is moving, and the impressions are finally caught, perceived by the eye, not perceived, but eyes become instrumental in perceiving, but for the time being, we can say the eyes perceive. Actually, the perception is done by Atma. But for the analogy, I'm trying to tell that when the water is moving and the reflection is also moving, this whole sight is caught by the still eye. So this is called as upadhi. On the other hand, if the eye itself starts rolling because of what is that term called as? Because of having drunk or any such situation, then the earth starts. It feels like earth is also moving. So this is called as grahak, because The eye is moving, but earth starts moving. So the another analogy is that like how when one person is haunted by a ghost, bhutavishta, so that person is called as bhutgraho, which means he has been caught by bhut, right? So this earth is still, but it is caught by the rolling eyes, and the rolling eyes, the Atma feels that the earth is moving. This is called. So there, in a similar fashion, when the Atma is caught by Deha, Graha. Deha means Manodharma, Deha Dharma, Deha Avishta. When the Atma is caught by the bodily necessities and the agitations of mind, then that Atma, it simply spends all the time in addressing to the demands of body, the necessities of body and the mind. It runs here and there, right? It has been caught, like how a person is caught by bhoot. And the former example of tree moving in the water represents a condition when the living entity, which means the spiriton, it identifies with the state of mind, shok, dukh, shok, moho, jubilant, or joy and misery. So those impressions the Atma considers as its own, or it becomes happy, or it becomes sad. Actually, the Atma, the Spiriton, ये जो शोक मोह है, these are not the states of Spiriton. These are the states of mana, mind. But because of ignorance, the Atma identifies itself with the mind. So therefore, when the mind becomes happy, or when the state of mind is set to happiness, the Atma thinks that he is happy. When the state of mind is set to moroseness, sadness, then the Spiriton thinks that he himself is sad. So in this way, the living entity, the Spiriton, wastes his entire human life. We cannot say that animals waste their lives. But when human beings also waste their life in the pursuits of Deha, that is number one. And number two is by being afflicted by the states of mind, Grahak Upadhi, then that person is compared to Gokhara, is considered to be like an ass or a cow. His Holiness Govind Maharaj has told us cow because even the cow is considered as pure, but the cow goes everywhere and accepts, eats everything. So this conditioned living entity, he goes everywhere, picking philosophy from here and there. So there are many philosophies, right? Other than Bhagavad Dharma, there are infinite philosophies and Vad, Bhautiktavad, Nirvisheshvad, Shunyavad, Mayavad, this Vad, that Vad. So he resembles like a cow. And definitely it is not at all difficult to understand how a living entity behaves like an ass, behaves like a donkey, conditioned living entity. Because how like donkey, he just keeps moving. If he is given the temptation of carrot, sometimes the washerman hangs a carrot in front of him, and the donkey chases a carrot. In this process, actually, is moving, and the work is being done. So we are also being shown all these temptations by this material world, which are actually keeping us move. In fact, Prahlad Maharaj in this chapter will tell that the force which is driving all of us, that force is definitely not a kinetic or potential or all this electromagnetic gravitational force. These forces don't apply on Atma. Which is the force which is moving all of us? Mathunagar. Mathun means the sex drive. That is moving all of us. That is our very primemost impetus, keeping us engaged here. And we are just simply following its dictates. And like a donkey follows the dictates of the carrot. Okay? And cow we have understood. Here is one more thing that here Hiranyakashipu is trying to tell us, and these shlokas actually should tell us that how the soul is soul accepts mind. Soul accepts a mind, which means when the soul, when the soul, when the material existence starts, when the mind is given and gets manifested over this covering of the mind, is the gross body. So when the gross body is given up, that does not mean that the mind is also given up. Mind with the life years and with intelligence and false ego, they still thrive. They don't vanish. The gross body is gone, the subtle body is still there. It takes Atma to the next gross body based on his good and karma. So it is called as incomplete death, because only the gross body made of Panchabhuta is decoupled, right? It's decoupled. So, so in Bhagavatam, it is said the real mukti, which means a real death, complete death, is when even this mind and the subtle body is also dissolved by the process of bhakti. So this should give us an impression. The take-home message is that the soul is different from uh, body, both gross body as well as the subtle body. And but however, thanks to the ignorance, thanks to this maya, that the soul, it succumbs to upadhi as well as grahak, which means it is not only affected by this ignorance, but it himself has clung himself so hard to the ignorance. That is the idea behind this these two shlokas, 23 and 24. 24 is 23, it's a continuity of 23. Thank you very much. I think I'll stop here now. Now we proceed to the next session, which means question and answer session.
Hare Krishna, Broji. Thank you. Thank you for next class. Yeah. If anyone is having any questions regarding today's class, they can raise their hand and ask His Grace Srikant Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Broji. Since there are no further questions. Okay. Suchitra Mataji.
हरे कृष्णा।
Mataji, please.
हाँ, प्रणाम। शुरू में आपने मतलब जिस तरह से बोला है ज्ञान के बारे में, मैं कैसे प्रेजेंट करूं, मुझे मतलब समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, कोशिश कर रही हूँ। हम लोगों को मतलब जैसे बोला जाता है, हाँ, गीता हमें पढ़ना चाहिए, बाकी दूसरा जो है वो सब थोड़ा पढ़ना चाहिए, तो वो सब पढ़ने से भी हमें मतलब ज्ञान आएगा। और कभी-कभी ऐसा भी होता है कि हम लोगों को मतलब परफेक्ट गाइडेंस के मतलब अभाव से हमें उन सब से मतलब अहंकार भी हो सकता है कि हाँ, इतना मतलब कुछ-कुछ तो उस विषय में थोड़ा जानना चाहती हूँ। हमें कैसे मतलब चलना चाहिए? पढ़ना चाहिए, नहीं पढ़ना चाहिए, किस तरह से पढ़ना चाहिए? हरे कृष्ण।
प्रभुपाद जी का अगर पर्पट पढ़ेंगे हर एक श्लोक में, तो हमको कभी भी अहंकार नहीं होना चाहिए। प्रभुपाद जी ने अपने हर एक पर्पट में और ऑलमोस्ट हर एक पर्पट में ये लिखा है कि भक्त की सेवा करना चाहिए, भक्त के गाइडेंस में, डिवोटीज के गाइडेंस में भगवत गीता का पाठ करना चाहिए। प्रभुपाद जी का पर्पट पढ़ना ही एक तरह से प्रभुपाद जी का एसोसिएशन करना है वाणी के द्वारा। तो इसलिए श्रील प्रभुपाद जी का पर्पट इज सो इम्पोर्टेंट। श्रील प्रभुपाद जी का पर्पट्स, they are filled with full of humility and perfect lessons to induce this humility in our own conscience. So we should always see that spirit in purport of Srila Prabhupada. And how Prabhupada ji is stressing again and again on the importance of Sharanagati to pure devotees. तो हमारे भागवत धर्म, भगवत गीता हो या फिर भागवतम हो, इन सबका हमें अगर एसेंस पहले से ही पता हो कि वास्तव में दे आर ऑल इंस्पायरिंग अस टू सर्व प्योर डिवोटी गुरु महाराज, then we will never succumb to ahankar, or and in this way our knowledge, we will not misuse the knowledge, we will rather utilize the knowledge in serving pure devotees. Does that help?
Hare Krishna.
I was audible, right? My this
Yes,
pin is
yes, Prabhuji, your voice is
okay.
clear. Mataji has texted. It is fine. Yeah, anyone else would like to ask any
मुझे
question?
सीतानाथ प्रभु कहते थे, एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज कहते थे हम सबको, कि कभी कभी हम लोग भक्ति में इतना आगे बढ़ जाते हैं कि तरह तरह के हम लोग ग्रंथ पढ़ने लगते हैं, जो कि अच्छी बात है, लेकिन उस चीज में हम ये गलती कर बैठते हैं कि श्रीला प्रभुपाद जी की बुक्स, श्रीला प्रभुपाद जी ने लिखे हैं, उनकी उनके पर्पट्स, उसको भी स्टार्ट ignoring them, or we start showing them callous attitude towards these books. So that is one mistake that sometimes few devotees may make. So we have to ensure that we are reading daily. We are reading at least one purport of any shloka by random. It can be random also, but we are reading Srila Prabhupada ji on daily basis. For us, the disciples of Guru Maharaj ji, we should definitely read books by Guru Maharaj ji. And if Srila Prabhupada ji is teaching us humility, Guru Maharaj ji is teaching us same humility in a more emphatic way. So therefore, the purpose of Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada are very important. We should never commit this mistake. Otherwise, it is very easy to, very easy to succumb to ahankar.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah. So just an information for all the devotees in the gathering. This is the session where we are going through Srila Prabhupada Ji daily, and for Sripad Maharaj Ji books, we are having a session every Saturday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. If people are interested, they can join. Every week we are posting the same in the group as well. Let's go in, Maharaj, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj Ji.
Maharaj Ji, you can unmute yourself, please.
Okay. Now I'm unmuted. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Dhanapram Maharaj Ji.
Dandapram, all goes Sripad. You have touched a very critical point, and because it would be otherwise multiple opinion, multiple ideas in the name of Gyan. So the word Gyan has to be defined. And, so the difference between Gyan and Gyanvan, that's the point. Would you like to explain what Krishna considers Gyanvan and what is mere Gyan? Because Gyan had different categories of Gyan.
Yes.
And who is considered Gyanvan from Krishna's point of view? Because our Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, they establish who Gyanvan is and what is mere Gyan.
Maharaj Ji, आप ही explain कीजिए please. I request you, Your Holiness. Did Maharaj mute himself again?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Because this internet is go off and on, I don't know sometimes. So this is very critical. We have to be very, very clear about, as you have criticized Gyanis, does Krishna criticize Gyanis from that point of view? So what is Gyan and what is Gyani? Gyanvan. So this has to be clarified before we can entitle someone to be called or recognized or honored as Gyanvan.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Maharaj Ji. I request Your Holiness to. I must say that I don't know much about it.
Well, Krishna defines 4 kinds of Gyan in Srimad Bhagavatam. And same thing, see the knowledge in the mode of ignorance. Can you believe this? Is it not a paradox? Knowledge in the mode of passion, knowledge in mode of goodness, and knowledge in transcendence. So what happens in the three pages, first 3 pages, it is a misidentification of the self. That's why one is engrossed like a gokhara, you know. They have knowledge. Their knowledge is only causing them engrossment in the matter. Kaivalyam satvikam jnanam rajo vaikalpikam tu yat prakritam tamasam jnanam. So their anubhav, their experience is just to remain engrossed, and they think this is the perfection of life. Animals go, you know, without discrimination, putting one's mouth in every, you know, poke one's nose in every affair without discrimination. So when one is not concerned about the consequences, right and left, and engrossed, that is tamsi jnana. Jnana nonetheless. Jnana means anubhuti. Jnana means so-called experiencing. And in the mode of passion, rajo vaikalpikam tuyat. Always looking for more. Bigger house, more money, more this, more. Vikalp matlab another option. Always looking for progressiveness on the material point of view. Then Krishna says, even Kaivalyam, to identify that I am the soul, I'm not matter, it is also misidentification. Because the soul's nature is not defined. We are not ours. We are Krishna's. There is proper identification. I cannot just live in vacuum that I'm the soul. Soul what? We don't get our existence without Krishna connection. So soul, our description is non-matter, is also misidentification. Our true identification is Manishtam Nirgunam Sritam. And Krishna says, one who is established in me, one who is established in relation with me, that is a proper Gyan. And Krishna says, Gyanvan Mam Prapadyate. So he's not discussing about Gokhara or a person engrossed in material progression, or even the so-called Gyanis which you define. Krishna is not calling them Gyani. Krishna is calling only those who know their relationship with him. Bahunam Janmanam Ante ज्ञानवान होने पर ही वो शरणागत होता है. तो ज्ञानवान कौन है? One who appreciates. Yes, only devotee is ज्ञानी और ज्ञानवान. So एक मेरा प्रश्न है, ये मानना के मैं जानता हूं, ये ज्ञान है या मैं
ड्रॉप हो गया. Maharaj is back.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for bearing with me. My question. Did you hear my question?
No, Maharaj ji. Could you please?
मैं मानता हूं कि जानता हूं, वो ज्ञानी है या जो जानता है कि मैं नहीं जानता?
Obviously, second one.
One who acknowledges not knowing, that is knowledge.
Right.
You know, because to be known is unlimited and our capacity is limited. So to acknowledge that I do not know, that is proper knowledge.
Yeah.
Then he knows who knows. Krishna alone knows. And whosoever Krishna makes known knows. So he would not ever, even in the dream, claim to be knowing anything. That is Agyani. That is misidentification.
Yes, Maharaj ji.
that I am the soul, but soul cannot be defined. What you know about soul? Soul can only be defined in relation to Krishna. Otherwise, there is no description. There is no meaning to soul. Because the matter gross we can see, subtle matter we cannot see. So what to speak about the soul? Soul is like a far-sighted, far away from our conceivability. So only when soul gains the connection to Krishna, it has meaning. So that's why Srila Prabhupada oftentimes said that self-realization follows. Follows means comes after God realization. Without appreciating Krishna is the summum bonum, is the source of everything, is the sambandha tattva, sambandha gyan. So ultimately, without sambandha gyan, there is no gyani. So, but yenyere vindaksha vimukta maninas, वो मान लेते हैं. They claim that they are in knowledge. तो जो claim करते हैं वो ज्ञानवान तो नहीं हो सकते, इसीलिए उनका पतन होता है ना. आगे पतन होने का मतलब है they self deprive to attain their supreme destination. Supreme से तो पतन नहीं होता ना, supreme से ही पतन नहीं होता. So anything which is below supreme, it's already fall down, you know, it's already fall. Not being able to attain the supreme destination is our fall, and we have fallen down unlimited number of times, because unlimited number of times we have been given the opportunity to attain the supreme destination Krishna is providing, and every time we have failed, every time we have underscored, underperformed, remain ordinary, underachiever. So that is fall down. क्योंकि जो supreme is infallible, supreme is अच्युत स्थान, वहां से कोई fall नहीं होता किसी. We are not able to make it all the way there, that is fall down. So this Gyanvan, we should not give credit to anybody unless he is a devotee. So Krishna says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Gyanvan Mam Prapadyate. ज्ञानवान वही है जो भगवान के शरणागत होता है. तो क्या ज्ञानवान को इन द डेफिनेशन विच द मायावादीज यूज, क्या ज्ञानवान को बहुत जन्म लेने की आवश्यकता पड़ती है क्या? ज्ञानवान तो मुक्त हो जाता है ना. तो भी भगवान क्यों कहते हैं कि बहुनाम जन्मनाम अंते, बहुत जन्मों के बाद में जब कोई ज्ञानवान होता है तो मेरे शरणागत होता है. इसका मतलब बहुत जन्मों के बाद में भी कोई ज्ञानवान नहीं होता. बहुत जन्म लेने के बाद में जब वो ज्ञानवान हो जाता है तब वो भगवान का भक्त बन जाता है. भगवान का भक्त ही ज्ञानवान कहलाता है. बिफोर दैट दे आर एनीथिंग बट ज्ञानवान. ऑल राइट.
यस महाराज जी. ज्ञानवान भक्तों की जय.
जय हो.
थैंक यू महाराज जी.
हरे कृष्णा. Yeah, we may conclude.
Okay. So ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की
जय.
जय. जगतगुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की
जय.
पतित पावन श्रीपाद महाराज की जय. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय. जय जय.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining. See you on tomorrow's class. His Grace Srikant Prabhu ki jai.